Hey guys, Crypto Trader Vader here. Thanks for tuning in. Just got a new setup, so if there's anyone there, just let me know if you can hear my audio. Okay, I got a new mic. Not using the headset anymore. Just gonna switch it up a little bit. Alrighty, so let's get into it. Let's just have a quick look at Bitcoin first and see what's going on with it. That's Nano, sorry. So we can see like Bitcoin's just crushing it at the moment on a nice upward trend, and the worst may yet be over. I might be speaking a little too soon, but it looks as though it's turning back upwards. I think it's probably going to pause at around this mark here where it's getting up to now. It's probably going to come back a little bit to back around to this support level around 9,300, 9,200, around there, and then potentially continue on up to about 10,800, 10,700, thereabouts. I've already bought back in anything I sold, which I didn't sell everything on the way down. Of course, hindsight's 2020, so it would have been great to be able to sell at a high level and buy back a lower level. The thing about that is, though, I kind of remove the idea of ever picking and perfectly timing the market from the realm of possibility, because it just kind of messes with me to try and pick the top. And so I just try and get close and trade my trading pattern. Anyway, let's get into the coins for Poloniex. If you're wanting to skip to your coin, I'm going to leave the left-hand side Excel spreadsheet here, and I'm going to mark each coin green as I go, so you can just scrub through the video if you want to find your favorite coin. Let's start with ADA. Let's have a quick look here. Now, last video we were at the 8th of February, and wow, I really wish that I traded on that, because last time around the 8th, right here, I called a possible 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and mentioned that could be, you know, obviously if it passes the 2 mark here, it could be going higher. Or maybe I've put those markings in since, because it says here bearish is for the near future, which I was definitely wrong about. Where is it heading now, though? Still strong downward trend. However, if we can have the market turn around somewhere here and then head back up, we can basically change the positioning of this 2 mark to around here, right? And then we form a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here. So, but that's only obviously if the market does start to turn around and head back in a bullish direction. Then we'd be looking for the past market around 5,900 sats or so. So I'll pop that down. Greater than 5,900 sats equals bull run. Around about there. Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash. What's going on with this one? Had another big spike up recently. It hit a previous resistance mark right here. It bounced off of that and just shot right up. It does have the habit of moving up very quickly when it moves up, because people, you know, think that it's another possible flippening, just like, you know, a few months back. And I think that people get overexcited about Bitcoin Cash very quickly, and it is heading back down lower now as the excitement has worn off. We can use our Fibonacci retracement tool to try and figure out where it'll land, and it looks like it's holding at the 6.618 mark for now. If it breaches below that, we'll be heading lower, probably. I did say bearish for the near future. I was wrong on many of these coins, so it's good for me to learn about these things and you know, continue to try and improve my trading finesse. We'd really need to see, again, we could potentially be having a, you know, very similar 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, where That's the 1. That's the 2. And this potentially could be the 3. Again, we'd need the market to start turning around and heading back up. And then, of course, if it goes past 0.16 again, we'll be seeing some more strength there. 0.16 equals bull run. All right, black coin now. BLK. So this is nice. We see a double bottom, bit of a double bottom here, and you can see the exact same thing here, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. I'll squeeze this in a little bit, and so it's a bit more visible. So now you can see it a bit clearer. The 1, 2, 3, it's failed to come back down to this lower low, and now, of course, it's starting to pass this mark. So we really need to hold solid above around 3,900 sats for Blackcoin to start turning back around now. Yeah, we really need that. Greater than 3,900 sats equals bull run POS equals bull run. Last week I said pretty much the same thing. So greater than 4K, greater than 39K, all of these resistance numbers, of course, zones. They're not guarantees by any means. So BTS, bit shares. And zoom out is the bigger picture here. We're not getting down to this really low. We're kind of seeing this staging formation here. I had a 1, 2, 3 bottom that kind of went up a little bit and then faked out and has come back down. Of course, these bull runs are never, inevitable. They're not forever. They don't go up forever. But there is a chance here, this 1, 2, 3, if you would have bought in at this 34.63 level where it's passing the 2 mark, you can see that it's gone up and you could have taken profit. You could have taken profit along the way, or at least taken some of your profit and be holding the rest of it for free. So what's happening with bit shares? It's really touching this one twice. It's not really a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, kind of a double touch, and we do have a downward trend here as well forming, just with these 2 touches. So really we'd need to, if I move this resistance line down just a tiny bit there, you can kind of see this what they call a bearish flag, descending triangle, and if it breaks beneath this kind of this level here around 2,700 sats, we're looking for a bearish move, and opportunity to obviously sell and then buy back in with a larger bag if you're trading with bit shares. Let's go on to clams now. And I can see here that I've got a couple of people watching. Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. Always love finding out that people are actually watching this. It's great. Clam. Now, I did see this, obviously this formation, this kind of flag, it's a triangle formation, which means that we can kind of look at whichever way clams breaks out may possibly be the direction that it takes off in. In the short term, of course, we've had this trend line going up. We've had this upward trend along here. Now we've had this consolidation. If it does break out here, it could continue this upward trend here and continue in this direction. Of course, if it does the opposite and it starts to break down lower from this point and past this 3 mark, then we're going to be seeing lower levels for clam. And of course, I'm always waiting on the sidelines for clam coin to buy a bit more. Every time there's a dip, I'll put a little bit more into it, because clam coin you can put onto Just Dice and invest it there, earn interest every month on it in a legitimate way, not in a BitConnect way. So really on this one, I'll probably say I'm going to watch that to see where it goes, which way it kind of breaks out of that triangle. Last week I said if it goes above 72k sats, we're looking for a bull run. It did for a minute there. Oh no, that was back here is where I called it. So actually let's change it to the 4-hour candle. Just have a bit of a closer look. So back here or so, I was saying if it breaks above 72, which it didn't do, it failed to, touched a couple more times, and it's continued downward. So it's really staying up there though, close to this downward trend line. So I'll be keen to watch that one. I'll probably be watching that over the next few hours. I'll just put a star next to that because I'll come back and check that in about 4 hours or so. Civic now. Just gonna have a quick drink. Alrighty, Civic. Wow, big old spike there. That's always nice. And so I was talking about this around the 8th here, where it was probably just approaching this breakout, and I can straight away see what I was thinking. If it goes above 58, which is this resistance mark that it's previously encountered, it'll likely go for a bull run, and it kind of did for a minute there. And if you're very quick and kind of a swing trader, you could have made a little bit of money on that. However, ultimately it's a fake out breakout, and it's come back down now. But it is slowing down, so I do like this kind of bowl formation starting here. So this initial downward trend has been broken, and that means that this downward trend here can continue, and if that kind of breaks, it's starting to form this bowl and could potentially be going back up. Of course, this bowl formation is another way of saying that there's essentially a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And if you want to, by the way, if you want a more in-depth look at what a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation is, I've got a separate video on it. It only goes for a couple of minutes. Go ahead and check that out if you want to know more about that. So Civic, what's happening? I really want to watch that to see if Civic does start to form that 1, 2, 3 bottom and head back in an upward direction, but that's really something that we have to wait over the course of maybe a few days to see what eventuates with that. Dashcoin, I was bearish to 0.059. Let's have a look at what happened. Yeah, so Dashcoin, I actually made a trade on this one. I shorted it. There's a channel forming here, right? And I shorted it right around this mark. No, wait, right around this mark, I think. Thinking, oh, it's going down for sure. No, it was here actually, because it continued on and it broke this downward trend, and ultimately I had to close this position with a small loss around this 72 mark, I think, right around here. And I've marked it green on my Coinigy account here because I've identified just a little box here. I'm just going to monitor where it's going to be going. You know, depending on which way it kind of breaks out of this box will determine the direction. I'm going to watch that one as well. Sorry, another watch. Moving on to Decred, and this one is, I remember this one because it's got this strong upward trend against Bitcoin despite Bitcoin's huge fluctuations. So I do like Decred coin long term because it has shown a lot of strength. However, it's starting to slow down here with its bull move and could potentially be turning back around. The EMAs have crossed over, which doesn't mean heaps in isolation. Really, I'd want the daily EMAs to be crossing over, so let's have a look at that. Which we definitely don't have yet, so we need to wait for this price. If it's going to be breaching beneath this support level of about 850k sats, it'll likely drop to a nice 788, so I'll pop that in here. Less than 850k sats equals bear to 788k. Dogecoin, I did mention last week, I do remember this one, that I'm bearish on it. However, it has turned around and gone against this trend line, which is definitely a positive bull move for Doge. Definitely does not look like this bull run is over yet, and it could be heading up back, well, at least back up to kind of this level here, about 92 sats or so, about 90 sats. It's an opportunity to make a little bit of money there, although long term, of course, I think it's going to go down, back down to sub 30 sat levels. But in the short term, probably, what, 92k, no, 92 sats. Okay, Ethereum now. Ethereum had a really nice bull run recently, and we were already past that last time we chatted about it. I did say that if it goes less than 0.95, we're probably looking at a nice drop down to this previous support level, which it hasn't quite passed yet, although it's getting very close to doing now. So that'll be another watch that I'll probably come back and check it. I'm literally going to copy and paste this last week's idea because it's still relevant. Pop a star next to it, and I'll watch that one over the coming day, over the coming 12 hours or so, and we'll have a look and see what happens. Of course, I'll probably have to sleep some point through that 12 hours, so I may not catch the break, but there's plenty of opportunities in the crypto markets, that's for sure. Expanse coin. Now, I did mark this down in a Steam post, so I've got a Steam it blog now. You can check that out. I'll pop in the description after the video is uploaded. But every Wednesday, I'm going to be posting 3 charts that I think are positive, and this is one of them. And big surprise, a lot of you know my trading style already. It's the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation that's kind of the bread and butter here, and I like to watch for this because it's in line with my trading style of trying to catch the bottom and trying to catch the trend reversal. And of course, I'm never going to pick it perfectly, so I'm never going to be able to pick the one. But after this 1, 2, 3, where the price has kind of failed to get back down to this level here, if it starts to turn around and head upwards beyond this 2 level of resistance, so if we have, 1 or 2 candles close above 36k, we're looking nice. Greater than 37k, bull run. Alrighty, Factum coin. And another nice descending triangle. And that's, of course, well, it can be really both. It can be a bullish flag if it's a lot shorter in duration. Like this here, if it was, this is a kind of a downward trend, and you can see that this is that's a bit of a, the overall trend is a bullish one, and this is a bullish consolidation, so it jumps backwards for a minute and then it starts to take off again, and obviously it did take off, but it still hit resistance at this mark here, which is the line I should draw in, and now of course it's gone into a deeper and longer consolidation period in this larger descending triangle. So really, we needed to break out up above this 350k sats mark to be going back in the bullish direction. Greater than 350k sats equals a bull run. So that's another one I'll probably keep a watch on over the next day, maybe of 2, and see what happens with that one. Folding coin now. Folding coin, we had this nice downward trend. It's bounced back up to the 0.23, and now it's gone down further, hit the extrapolated Fibonacci, the predictor move to the 0.27, and I think I spoke about that probably last week, because this is the 6th And now it's come back to this 0 mark, which I'll mark in the resistance point. And now heading back down lower. This is again another opportunity. Could possibly be a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, but we really need to see the market turn around before we can call that one. So let's leave that for another day. Let's put a watch on it and move on to game. Game credits now. What do we got? A previous 1, 2, 3 bottom formation where the breach has been a downward one, which means it's a bearish trend. We need to wait essentially until a new bottom is formed, and it seems to be breaking through this previous resistance mark. And I mean, this is really a resistance zone if you ask me, and could be heading much lower. To find out where it lands, there's more resistance there, there's more resistance there, there's more resistance there. So some of you might think, well, it's not really helpful to know where it lands, right? Because there's so many points, you know, there's so many options for where it might land. It might land here and go upwards again. It might crash down to this mark here, the previous resistance points. But ultimately, it's pretty useful because we can basically deduce from this open candle here, this one that my mouse is on now. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see it clearer. This one here, and then the secondary candle that's starting to go in a downward direction. We can safely say it's going to be heading to 25k sats at least, which is only a small difference between this, but it's still something. So if we're looking to buy game credits, we could possibly buy some here, see what happens. If it turns around, we could buy more in a bullish trend, or if it starts to break down further, we can you know, having bought some here, we can buy the remainder at kind of this point, or possibly split the purchase between a few different ones. So it's really handy to know where these resistance marks are, especially in a bearish trend, so that you know where to kind of fill up your bag. And if you're like me and you don't like the risk so much, you might want to split your buying into a couple of different periods, that way getting the average cost instead of having to put all your eggs in one basket of price, so to speak. Where is it going? It's probably likely going bearish, and probably my guess would be that this is too close, and it'll likely hit at least about 24k sats here. I'm not holding any, excuse me, I'm not holding any game credits, but if I was, I'd probably look at selling some at this point and buying back up at that lower level. GNO Gnosis now. Wow. Big bearish trend. Lots of strong support around this mark though. And it's got the support. This hasn't quite reached this low level back here, which means it could still form into a 1, 2, 3 bottom that's very elongated, but ultimately I'm not really sure on that one. Seems a strong downward trend though, and if it does breach, the landing will probably be around this mark, or maybe this mark here. And that's around what, 0.015 or 0.014. I'm out of Gnosis now. Possibly, I'll just put bearish. I'll just put like 80%. I'm not too sure on that one. It could very much turn around again, which is a very strong downward trend. That's what I don't like about it. GNT, Golem Network token now. Ooh, this is nice. Look at this. Broken this trend. Oh, I like this. Why didn't I notice this before? Okay, so back here, back on the 8th, it had this nice run up where it touched this downward channel. It's come off of it, and now it's gone up, touched it, finally managed to break through. That's great. So realistically, what does that mean? I'm getting pretty quick at drawing these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations in. Here we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Of course, we've had basically 2 touches on this 3. However, it's just now breached the 2 mark. So what I would predict is going to happen is that this arrow is going to kind of hit this 2 mark here. come back, and if you're looking to buy into GNT, probably set some buy orders around 45, maybe 46, this realm here. Just draw a little box. Make that a green box for buy. Is that a green box? Oh, background, right. And then obviously what will happen from there is moon. So that would be a possible entry point there. Now this resistance, it adds up because it's touched this line kind of twice, and now it's touching it again. It's needing a bit of a consolidation. If it breaks through directly, then of course we missed that opportunity. But as I said before, there's always many opportunities in crypto, and if you deviate from your plan like I've done in the past, ultimately you end up being in uncharted territory and get burnt, lose money. Just grab another drink, excuse me. So what will happen if it breaches this mark here again? This previous resistance mark, it could have caused moon, and where will it be landing? Who knows? Let's have a look. However, let's assume that the price does come back here, consolidates. Where will it land? Where is a good place to take some profit? Well, one point is here, another point is here, another point is here. All these marks would be good. And just draw these arrows, another one here. So really, you'd probably want to do 2 trades if you were doing this one. You know, buy up around this point, take some profit at this point, take some more profit at this point, and obviously as it goes higher, move your stop losses up to ensure that you're getting a profit out of each one. GNT. So what did I say about that? Realistically, it needs to consolidate to 45 sats, and then we'll go to 50. Consolidate to 45, then to 5. I'm going to keep an eye on that one as well and track that in probably a couple of hours, because it does break through here and go higher. It might be a missed opportunity, and I can cancel watching that. Or if I see a red candle start to move it back down, I'll set some buy orders down there. All right, moving on to library token. Oh yeah, hey, better than you. Just someone's chatted here. What's the point? What's the point to trade in the opposite way? Much more risky. Right. You're right. There's obviously risk because if the price goes up, you might be missing out. But what you want to do in that situation is set a stop loss in the same way that you would set a stop loss if you're buying something and the price is coming back down. You obviously take a risk when you're trading, and this is why you don't ever trade with your whole bag. But if you're doing a trade in the opposite direction, you want to be selling your bag, right? And having a mark that if the price doesn't go in a downward direction to buy back at the level that you predict, at the target level, that you can buy back in. Sure, there's a risk because you're buying back with less and you're losing something, but that's the risk you take in trading, and that's why you don't do it with your whole bag. The risk reward needs to be obviously in your favor. If you're not that confident in the charts or in the direction that you're predicting the target price to be, then you obviously don't want to execute that trade. However, if there's a situation that you can see, I'm pretty confident that this trade is going to come off, maybe take 10% of a coin that you're holding. It may represent 0.5 or less of your total portfolio, And if you can grow that percentage, ultimately there's a winner. And if you lose some of it, that's it. Cool, thanks. Sweet. Let me know if that kind of explains things better than you. All right, library token now. So we've got basically 2 touches on this low. It's just I love library token, but it's just been letting me down lately. Big old bear trend, and you know, very strong, touching this support line a couple of times. We really need to see if it breaks through. It's had this. Look at that. So if you're going closer here, we can see this nice big skewer down, which, you know, can mean obviously 2 things. It can mean that it's because it's green, you could say, hang on, it means there's strong support at this level. However, these big skewer downs also means that someone's selling large amounts. There's lots of sell orders in the market pressuring the price back down. Definitely not confident to buy library tokens off this. I still, unfortunately, am holding a handful of them, which kind of wish I wasn't. But if the price does breach this sub 3,800 mark, you know, with a couple of candles, obviously not with one candle, then I'll be probably looking to sell that library and buy back into a lower level. So we really, I'll say here, if it's less than about 3,800, bearish. And when I say these situations where it's less than or more than in these charts, ultimately what I mean is that a solid candle closes and a new one opens. You know, I use the 4-hour charts to make these charts. If you're trading with shorter time frames, of course, you may want to wait for a couple of candles to open and close to be sure of the trend. But yeah, for me, I like to be conservative with these things and make sure that we get as many signals in our favor as possible. Lisk now. Lisk has had a nice bull run. I sold some Lisk back up at around 300,000 or so, around this mark, during this big skewer up. And it did consolidate, and I didn't buy back in, which was a mistake, because it's now come back up and stayed up. I think there's some announcements coming with Lisk as well. I haven't looked hugely into it, but I was glancing across coinmarketcalendar.com the other day to have a look. And yeah, definitely some interesting stuff coming up. Let's just have a look at the fib here, where the price might come back down to. Hey, what's going on? There we go. Seems to be holding above this 38.382 mark. Hasn't dipped to the 50. I don't know really what that means. I mean, it looks to me like it'll probably continue upwards. And actually, you can see here that the overall trend, right, is upwards. I'm just going to get rid of this fib for... Actually, let's just hide that for 1 sec. So, we can see that the overall trend is upwards. What we have is a bearish flag. This falling wedge. As the price breaches this, we can say that this overall trend will continue upwards. It's like a bullish flag. I've seen this pattern many, many times in like Forex indicators. You know, different candle patterns that kind of indicate trends and possibilities. And this is definitely a bullish signal. Overall trend up, consolidation period that's a lot less up than volatile than the upward push. And we can wait for a breakout here at around this mark to let that trend continue. Not confident to make a call on that one, but I'll put a watch on it and see what happens. Litecoin. Litecoin last week, put a watch on it. Wow. Back here. Solid. Look at that. Giant leap up. Very nice, and seems to not be stopping at any time. Just all-time highs for Litecoin, so it's doing really, really well. I think a lot of people are probably getting back into the market through Litecoin because it seems cheaper, and kind of people's psychology as well. Bitcoin's, you know, XYZ amount, Litecoin's a little bit less, maybe I can get some more Litecoin. And of course, some people think, oh, maybe Litecoin will go to the direction of Bitcoin and be worth that much. It's not really how it works. Obviously, we know that it's more, you know, more important is market cap, the size of the market cap. So you might have one single coin, and you know, or a coin with lesser available supply is obviously going to be rarer and therefore more highly priced. But the market cap might be the same as a coin like Dogecoin that has a heap of coins, and is obviously a lot cheaper per coin. I mean, I just don't, honestly, it may come back down, but with a big skewer like this upwards, really we can't say where it's going to land. If it's already landed at the top and that was the top there, we could probably say that we're going to get a bit of a consolidation back down, well, to pretty much where it's at now, before possibly continuing back upwards. It's interesting because if you look at this previous bull run, where the previous high was right here, right? This is why Fibonacci is so amazing, because the projection, the negative 0.27 projection on it, is exactly where it landed after this consolidation. So we might look at this and go, well, hang on a second, maybe this is the full bull run. Where will it go after this consolidation? Well, probably up to this point, negative 0.27 again. And this is something that's fractal, and you can take it, you can apply the Fibonacci sequence to many different charts and patterns, and a downward or an upward or a bullish move or a bearish move, and you'll often find that these same psychological levels are hit. It's really fascinating to me. It truly amazing. That said, I don't know what the hell is happening with it, so I'm going to put a watch on that. Navcoin, we're going to skip MAID. We'll come back to MAID at the end just to have a quick look-see, because it's not in my usual coins. Navcoin now, generally bearish. Of course I was very wrong. I made a lot of bear calls, I think, last week that proved to be wrong. And it's just because the confidence in the market started to turn around. A lot of these coins are thinking, all right, let's go back up now. Confidence returning to the market. It's obviously positive things. Broken this downward trend line, seems to be resting on it now, and possibly be forming back in an upward direction. Now, what do we see here? Now, if you've already spotted this, then let's find out if you're seeing exactly what I'm seeing. Now, yes, it's a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, right? But look at where this 2 was, where the top of this candle was. What's happened is, just like many times that the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation hits, as it breaks through this 2, the market gets very excited and heated, and for a little while it goes way upwards. Then as things cool off, there's a consolidation and usually comes back down to touch this 2 mark. And as we see a takeoff from this point, especially in the daily candles, right? Oops. As we see a green candle start to take off here, that's a big sign for me. It's called, you know, this is obviously the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation is in the overall trend, but it's also called a bend trade, because what the line does here, as it breaks above this mark, we might have a box drawn in here to mark where this resistance point of the 2 is. As it breaks above this trend, it comes back down, and as we see the line go back up, that's the bend. So really we want to wait for if there's a green candle here and it closes, this line will then have a bend in it. And this bend trade is something that I learned from Naked Forex. They've got a great YouTube channel if you want to learn more. It's called Naked Forex. And he does some videos on the bend trade and a variety of other different trades. Talks more at length about obviously Forex, but it's very much the same stuff. So as a green candle appears here in Navcoin, I'm going to be watching that to see if I can jump into it. And just going back to the 4 hour and back to the candles. That'll be interesting. So let's put that down here. I'll just put in here possible bend trade. All right, let's move on to OMG, Almost Go. Had a big bull run very recently. And that's because it's broken through this downward trend line. Oh, excuse me. That I've drawn in here previously. So on the 8th is where I was talking about it last. Right here, it was just approaching this line, hit this resistance mark here, and ultimately crashed in between the two of them before finally breaking out more solid. And of course, you can see that this price is really fighting across this level here, and that's because it's not a concrete line. It's a blurry kind of area that the price generally tends to, you know, slow down, where there's a lot of buy orders and sell orders around these marks. And of course, once it's broken out and free and clear, it has higher levels to get to. Now, where will it stop? Will it consolidate lower, or will it continue in an upward trend? I think that there's a lot of resistance at this mark here. You can see that there's also resistance points where it's at now, and there'll be likely some support around this level. You can see it's touched it once, twice, 3 times, and then broken through, and now it could possibly come back down to maybe 153k 153k sats or so. I'll pop that in here, back to touch. Then we'll put a mark on that as well, because it's something I want to check back in tomorrow or the next day with, and then I'll update my chart for next week. Rep. Better than you. Just reading your comment now, man. With the rise of Bitcoin, I prefer to bet on the 10 market cap coin. Yeah, cool. No, fair enough. Yeah, and it's probably a wise move overall. You know, despite obviously me enjoying doing this trading and trying to grow my Bitcoins through this method, overall bag is very largely in those top coins as well, and I think it's definitely a good move to keep the majority of your crypto risk in the ones that are less risky. Crypto itself is way too risky already for any, you know, traditional portfolio, and ultimately it's it's wise, definitely wise to mitigate that risk as much as possible. Broken out of this bullish trend, rep has, and now consolidating. You could draw a bit of a box here if you wanted. You don't have to. It doesn't seem to be a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, so I think it was something that it could have been if it turned around at this point. Just make that a little clearer. But of course now it's headed back down, and we're going to need to wait for that to hit a new low point, a new 1 mark, where we can then look for the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation again. Seer coin, giant bull run up, of course, in the last few weeks. Bit of a flag here. What's happening with this price? So obviously people can see maybe a 1, 2, 3 bottom here. It's done a fake out breakout where it's tried to break out but then failed. Come back down. We can look at it and say, okay, this is a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. You know, 1, 2, kind of 3 there. And if it passes this mark here around 300 sats, we might be looking more bullish. I think that's what I'll put in here for now. Break above 300 sats equals bull. And let's move on. Steam. If you have a Steemit profile, let me know what your blog or your profile is on there, and I'll give you a follow, and I'll upvote your content. I'll add you to my auto upvoter. So yeah, please post a comment if you've got a Steam blog, and I'll follow you. You can follow me, and we can be buds. Yes, Steam. This is just lovely. I really like this chart. It's just holding this strong trend upwards. If we switch this to the day view, I think we're going to be able to see a nice 1, 2, 3 setup formation. And we see it just there. I'm not going to draw it out, but it's basically here, 1, 2, 3, and it's now starting to turn around. We really need to breach this 60k to go on a nice bull run again. Greater than 60k equals bull run. Storage now. Overall longer trend is this consolidation period. I remember I bought storage back here. Still hasn't recovered from that point. I did already sell out of it. Close my position on that one. And now, of course, seems to be breaking this 2 mark. We're at 1, 2, 3. Sorry, the 3 mark of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Now heading back down. So probably likely going to be seeing 10k storage again. And then, of course, a breach beneath 10k would equal a bear move. STR still lumens. XLM on every other exchange, but STR on Poloniex. Overall upward trend here. However, it's encountering some resistance at this mark here. 1, 2, 3 touches, kind of half fake out breakout there. Another touch, another. So we really needed to break this point. We really needed to, obviously, because it's broken it before and done a fake out breakout. I'd like to see a bit more confidence. I'd like to see maybe 2 to 3 candles breaking above the 4900 mark. Or let's just say 1 solid candle above 5k would equal a nice bull run. And that would be 5k sats equals bull run. And now strat. Stratus. A little bit of a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and that is looking nice. Not a coin that I've held a lot of before or done much trading with, but again, you can see same sort of patterns happening here. One, two, three bottom formation. It's breached the 2 mark. It's gone very excited because it's like, yay, we've passed this resistance. And then, of course, as the wind is taken out of the bull's sails, consolidates back down, now touching this mark. If we can see, again, another green box here to indicate what the bend trade is, because it's essentially the same trade. Instead of buying at the breakout initially, we're waiting for the consolidation. Doesn't always happen this way, but it looks very nice. If we change it to a line chart, you can see the same thing that I'm looking for. Breakout above this box, which has happened, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. And now, of course, we need a bend in this price. We need to turn back around and head back in an upwards direction. So I'm going to put a watch on that one and also put a star on it to see what happens. Let's turn back to candles and move down to VTC. I've got Syscoin in there as well. I'll revisit Sys and Mate just at the end to have a quick look, because those are two coins that I just want to have a quick look at from, I mentioned some stuff on them last week. Let's delete that. So this Fibonacci, again, you know, from the bottom of the bull run to the top, and we see it's right around this 0.5 mark. So it hits the halfway mark of where this bull run is, and ultimately has held support on that mark. So I think the neighbors are hammering away or something. Got a little bit of noise. Where is it going? I mean, I really don't know. I don't want to say, because it's a lot of watches. Actually, not that many, but quite a few. Uncertain market. XCP, moving on. Nice little trend forming. It's breached this downward trend, and we can see another little one forming here, which is nice. Off the back of a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. It's 1, 2, 3. It's broken out. It's kind of crashed. It's really an elongated 1, 2, 3 bottom. Finally seems to be breaking out here, but ultimately it's going to hit the resistance at these previous marks here and here. So it could be heading bullish to around 430k, around that mark. That would be my bet. XMR, Monero, one of my favorite coins. Bullish still. Continues to go upwards, and it'll probably continue over the next period of time here. Realistically, we'll probably check back in a week. We'll check back. I'll do these every Thursday, and yeah, we'll probably see that it's still dangling between these two marks, this upward rising trend and this resistance point. There's not going to be much action on that one. Remain XPM Prime Coin. Had a big bull run, lots of excitement around Prime Coin there for a minute. And now what's happening? We're still getting like higher lows. So every time there's a low point here, it's higher than the last time it was, which is bullish. So overall it looks okay. However, we're also seeing the opposite, in that we're also seeing higher. Oops, I thought I was doing a trend there. With a high mark that it's reached, you know, it's obviously come back and bounced down to the low, and then it's tried to reclaim the top. We can look at this and say it's a 1, 2, 3 top formation. So if it passes this kind of sub 6100 sats mark, we're looking for a bearish trend. So let's pop that in here. And XRP, final couple of coins here. If there's any coins you want me to check out, let me know in the comments, and I'll have a quick scan and see if I can have a look for your coin. If it's on Coinigy, I'll certainly be able to have a look at the chart. So pop a chat in and let me know what coin you want me to check out, and I'm happy to do it. Bounced a couple of times off this resistance mark. Overall, with the confidence returning to the market, people want to buy up cheap coins, and obviously the top 10 coins are going to be some of the ones that are bought up the most. We're seeing that with Litecoin. We saw that with Ripple, obviously, and last time I said I'm generally bearish. I thought it would go lower. However, the time before that, maybe the time before that, I did say it would go down to about 8,000 sats, which it did do. I don't know. This is another watch. So I'm throwing a few watches out there, but yeah, not too sure about that. Zcash. Derek bought Zcash and is smashing the Facebook competition on our Facebook group. The link is in my YouTube about page if you want to join the next Facebook competition. Got a trading chat group there if anyone wants to join. Upward trend with Zcash seems to be breaking, but it's broken it before and regained it. Not too sure. I mean, this is obviously could be new trend forming. We've had a couple of touches now. Had some resistance previously encountered along the same line, which is a good indication that it may be a trend line. So if this is breached, we might be seeing kind of these levels here around the 4.041, 0.042 mark. Throw that out there. I'll just put a little about me flag that around that one. Alright, that is the usual done. I'm just going to have a quick look at Sys and Made Safe. First of all, Sys. It doesn't want to load. Let's see if Made Safe loads. Made Safe is loading. So here you can see a previous iteration of the bend trade that I was showing off a little bit earlier. If we change this to a line, we can see that as it's broken out of this box in a downward move, it's gone back up and then bent down. So once this candle is closed, you'd be selling at this mark here at around 5,500. Now, as the price falls, obviously we can buy up a bigger bag at around these other resistance levels. We might see the price coming back. We might even close the trade at, as the price starts to come back up, and that's, at 4,800. Even though we're not catching the exact top or the exact bottom, still there's that gap to make that profit in. And you can make that profit in Bitcoin by buying back the same amount of coins that you previously had, or you can make that profit in Made Safe Coin, which is buying and increasing your bag size. Now we kind of have this micro trend forming upwards. I'll change it back to candles here. And still within this box. So we might have a situation where, these are obviously big waves in between. However, they are higher lows. And we might have a situation where it breaks out above this box. Just extend that box a little bit further. And we might have a bend again that we could trade. Let's see if Syscoin's working. Doesn't seem to be working. Maybe Syscoin with Bittrex is working. Cool. Same prices, essentially. Although I do trade probably more on Poloniex for now. Syscoin is just rocketed upwards and it's really on this top resistance mark. So I think that if there's a breakout above this, we're going to be seeing this coin go very high and nice to the moon, hopefully. I love Syscoin. I think they're doing great things, and I'm hoping that the breakout will bring us up to about 8K sats or so. Yeah, which would be fantastic. All right, well, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for tuning in, and subscribe to the channel, because tomorrow I'm going to be starting a new project called Journey to 1 Bitcoin, where I'm going to be putting 0.2 Bitcoin into Bittrex instead of Poloniex, and I'm going to be trying to trade that 0.2 Bitcoin all the way to 1 Bitcoin. So I might be doing some TA videos on Bittrex. They won't be live journals like this. I'll do these live journals. I'll continue to do these every Thursday. But on Fridays I'll do the Bittrex road to or journey to 1 Bitcoin videos, and I'll show you guys my progress on that, or maybe I'll start losing money on it. Let's find out. It's going to be an interesting learning experience for me, and I hope that maybe a couple other people will learn from it as well. And yeah, I'll be telling you guys and showing you my Bittrex account and how it's kind of growing or shrinking as we go. All right, tuning out. Thanks again for tuning in. Leave me a comment, hit that subscribe, and we'll go from there. Thanks.